How did this happen? What did you do?
I'm giving you the chance to change your life. Peter, come with me. Give up catching fish and I will make you a fisher of men.
What are we gonna do?
Change the world.
This year in particular has been a little difficult because I had been ignoring my mental health for a while, and things grew to the point where I was really feeling down on myself, and I had a lot of negative thoughts, a lot of self-criticism, and I realized that the degree to which it had grown was not normal, not healthy. I have always been anxious and self-critical, and those feelings and negative thoughts grew to a point where I really just didn't like myself. I thought that everything I did was a mistake, and I was beating myself up way too much for everything. So I started to get therapy, which was really helpful, and I think that the biggest takeaways I had from that was that it's important to acknowledge those thoughts and feelings. If you're stuffing everything down, pretending that you don't have a problem, you can't work on those issues. I frequently insist on carrying it alone, that I am fine, that I don't need help, but over time, carrying it alone, managing it alone, it just gets heavier. It's like when you're on a hike and you have a heavy backpack. At first you feel like you're fine, but the longer you're carrying it, the harder it gets, the heavier it gets, the more tired you are. So all of these negative thoughts were my rocks in my backpack. I was basically adding in my own weight and making up my own rocks. And in ignoring them, it grew heavier. And so that's where I ultimately ended up. I had just been pretending that my backpack wasn't that heavy, my problems weren't that big. Something that I learned was that you can't find relief for a problem that you're pretending you don't have. It's okay to have burdens. Even though my burdens might not be as big as someone else's, mine still have weight, and they do need to be taken care of. Everyone's going through different struggles, and if we are able to share them, we can help support each other and find relief through our friendships and the good people that are around us. Whether that is a friend or a family member or Christ, there are ways that we can find relief. It's a choice to share. It's a choice to accept help. Choosing to share that burden with each other and choosing to share that burden with Christ. We are partnering with Christ and helping our fellow human beings, where we are a conduit through which He provides relief. So I am really good friends with my roommate, Janelle, and so I had a very difficult conversation for me just because I had to be vulnerable, but in talking to my roommate, I was surprised at how much relief that I felt. My circumstances didn't change. The rocks were still in my backpack, but because I had shared with my friend, it became easier to handle. Those conversations were really hard and awkward for me, but I found that what was even harder than sharing was carrying the rocks alone. I have found that my commitment to follow God has been very helpful for me to find relief. It's hard sometimes to share with friends and family the burdens that we have, but I found that it is surprisingly easy to share my burdens with God. When I'm honest in my prayers and truly vulnerable, I feel a greater sense of peace and relief because I know He cares. Painting this mural has been really exciting for me and really humbling for me because I have been able to interact with people in a way that I typically don't get to. I tend to think that most people in New York don't care about religion, they don't care about spiritual matters, but I've definitely seen so many people who the mural has been resonating with them and the message of it, they understand it and they appreciate it. It's expanded my view of other people and the fact that more people care about religion and about God than I realized. What I really love about the message is it is relatable for anyone. Whether people are religious or not, we all have burdens and we all need help and relief with them. Anyone who sees the mural can appreciate it for that message alone. I painted the mural to be the moment that weight is starting to be lifted off her shoulders. You can see it in the straps of the backpack. They are just starting to be lifted from her shoulders. And I wanted it to be that moment where relief is starting to be felt. And so she's looking up with perhaps a little bit of surprise, a little shocked because she's so tired and so used to carrying it alone, but now she's realizing that it doesn't have to be so heavy. What I hope that people take from this mural is that it is okay to struggle, it is okay to have a backpack, and your burdens are not meant to be carried alone. And it's okay to share that with other people and with Christ, and you can find relief. I don't pretend to know why sometimes we are given the rocks that we are given, but to anyone who is insisting on carrying their rocks alone, I would advise turning to God. I understand it can be hard to turn to others. Sometimes it's just hard to share or you don't know who to share with, but the person that you can always share with is Christ.
I was living in Minnesota and ended up getting a divorce. I had been beaten down in the last, years of my marriage to not know who I was and not know my own potential. But through Christ and through my connection with Him, I was learning that I was strong and I could teach my daughter to be strong as well, even through really, really hard things in life. That was such a cool experience because I think without it, I don't know if I would have looked so internally, and also I don't know if I would have reached towards Christ as much as I did at the time. When I came to Utah, I had some decisions to make on how to proceed with my life, how to proceed with my career, and it was a difficult decision how to provide for us. I illustrated myself and my daughter 100 times for a 100-day project. There's one of me very frustrated when she's throwing a tantrum. There's one where I'm chasing Remy and she's naked after her bath, and it's called Naked Bird on the Run because that's what she would say, Naked Bird on the Run. And I had so many parents just comment, like, this is what we do every day. And so even though it was such a personal story for us, it ended up being such a universal one that I didn't realize would be so universal. But it also helped me to strengthen my skills and hone my craft, and that project has led to projects that really are very meaningful to me. I really wanted to create a large-scale mural that really digs deep into my core belief that Jesus Christ is part of each of our families. I think often, especially as women, we feel like we can't be a good mother and also fulfill our passion. We sometimes think it has to be one thing or the other. But when I was going through this difficult time, the continuous answer that I was receiving was that I could do both and live a fulfilling life and be a good mother and also follow what was really a part of me, which was being creative. I have since found an incredible husband. It's been so great to join our families together. It's been, of course, not perfect and ups and downs like any family, but it has just given all of us strength to be together. I really like to focus on inclusion, accepting people for who they are, diversity and beauty and diversity, because that is what our world is made of, and finding joy in the simple things. I included a single mother praying with her children because that is how I personally have connected with Christ through prayer. And then I conveyed a family with older children and used my own family, which was really fun. I wanted to represent that in the mural by putting us all in a canoe together, because we're navigating our life together now, and I thought a canoe was a fun way to show, the adventure of life together as our new family. And there's a line that goes through the whole image that is sort of wobbly and goes up and down and around, and I just thought that was a good way to illustrate sort of our path as parents. Sometimes we feel like we're doing a great job and we're the best parents in the world, and sometimes we just feel like we fail every day, one day after the next. I hope when people see this mural, they take away a sense of the joy that comes with parenting, the joy of being together as a family, no matter what your family looks like. I hope that they can see Christ in these families, at the center of them, and helping these families find that joy and find that strength together. It does feel like such a big responsibility, but taken day by day, parenthood is manageable with Christ. It's a universal truth that He is part of each of our families, and it is so comforting to know that we have someone like that is on our side and helping us through. I truly believe that Jesus Christ is the strength of parents, and having that ever-present love.
It has taken me a long time to recognize that I was constantly looking outside or comparing at peers and trying to discover, how do I become the person that I should be. It's a commandment to love myself. I can't love my neighbor until I can love myself. That's where becoming one has to start from within. I have grown up feeling a lot of shame, not belonging, not feeling like I fit in. I sensed that I was different. I wasn't the only one who noticed that. I think it was as clear even to my older brothers, but something that really stood out to me is I was nicknamed Fairy Princess. That was hard for me to not know that I'm not like them, and who I am is wrong, and so I felt like I needed to hide, I guess, or didn't feel like I could be my true self. What is it that will make me man enough? Because I'm not good enough, or what do I need to change about myself? Do I need to be more athletic? Change what I wear? Focus on bodybuilding? All of these external things, constantly looking and constantly comparing, has been my inner battle. I can only speak about my experiences, but I know that each individual has their own trials, and for me, by recognizing that Jesus Christ gave the perfect example, anyone who studies Jesus Christ can see that that is where they will find their true selves. I've never questioned Christ's love for me, but at times I have had a hard time feeling that love or accepting that love in myself. Things that I love about being an artist is I get to communicate messages that are important to me and share those with others. Getting to paint an outdoor mural, large scale, in New York City is a dream. The opportunity to create a conceptual piece that has universal values, that's something that is important to me. The concept that I came up with, having a woman with her hand over her heart, her eyes closed, and in a state of peace. And what's going on within that's where I was able to put that burning fire. Also in her other hand, close to her heart, is soil that is giving space to grow some flowers, turning those ashes into beauty. This house that's on fire is causing a lot of smoke. And as a way of breaking the space, I had the smoke leaving the insides up and over her shoulders. So she's turning and blowing as though she's been able to accept and come to peace and work through this inner conflict, and is now becoming resolved. As soon as the art went up on the wall, it was immediately engaged. There was almost a sense of curiosity and bonding of the neighbors of this new piece that was going to be part of their neighborhood.
The house is burning.
I even had 2 cops come over and said that they just had to come and express how inspiring, how beautiful the piece was.
Thank you. Have a good one.
Simplest advice that I would give to anyone who's going through a hard time is be kind to yourself. I know that's not easy. It's very common for the inner critic to be louder than positive, reaffirming voice, but that's how you can see and actually recognize the good in you. I don't know what people are gonna take away when they see my art. My hope is it will cause them to reflect on themselves, to look inward and ask, am I at peace within? Jesus Christ describes himself as one with the Father, and he took time to strengthen that relationship. And just as he did that, when I take the time to speak with my Heavenly Father, I always walk away from that experience reminded of who I am, that I am a beloved son of my Heavenly Father. My inherent goodness of who I am as a child of God, that is my true self. It's a mural, but I hope it has more meaning than just adding color and beauty to the neighborhood. I hope that it can uplift and inspire. That's what everyone wants, is to be able to truly be seen and known and loved. It begins from within, one within.